It started with her laugh, low, tired, a little too soft for the room. I hadn't heard it in years. She was leaning against the counter in my mother's kitchen, holding a glass of white wine like it was a habit she'd once quit and just picked up again. Her name's Mara, my mother's older sister. Mid-40s, recently divorced, the kind of woman who made silence feel full. Like the world slowed down a little when she looked at you. I was 22, home for the weekend, pretending to scroll through my phone just to have something to do with my hands. When she turned, she caught me watching. Not with embarrassment, with recognition. Like she already knew the look in my eyes and didn't mind it. "Still can't look people in the eye when you talk?" she said. Her voice had that teasing lilt I remembered from when I was a kid.
"I lied."
She smiled, slow. "Then prove it." She didn't move closer, but it felt like she did. Her perfume, something faintly floral, something adult, reached me first. The kitchen light was dim, yellowed from the old fixture. Everyone else was outside, the sound of laughter spilling faintly through the back door. Inside, it was just us, and the ticking of the oven timer. I stepped closer, and for a moment neither of us said anything. Her eyes, a quiet gray that seemed to see through small talk, met mine. I didn't look away this time. Her smile flickered, then softened. "You've grown up," she said. The words should have sounded like an aunt's observation, but they landed heavier, slower. She looked at me as if trying to remember where the line was, or if she'd already crossed it. "I guess," I said. My voice cracked a little and she noticed. She always noticed. There was a moment, brief, breath-thin, where neither of us breathed. Then she reached for my hand. "Let me see," she murmured. Her fingers brushed my palm, tracing the lines like she was reading something there. The warmth of her touch was too careful, too deliberate. My hand didn't move, but I felt everything. The faint scrape of her ring, the slight tremor in her thumb as it lingered near my wrist. "It's been so long," she said, almost to herself. Her tone wasn't about time, not really. It was about something else. Something she didn't say. I wanted to ask what she meant, but her eyes lifted, and whatever was behind them kept me quiet. Outside, someone called her name. My mother's voice, laughing. Mara didn't pull away immediately. She just exhaled, a quiet sigh that brushed against her lips like the end of a thought. Then she let go. I could still feel her touch when she walked past me, the air shifting in her wake. She stopped at the door, hand on the frame, and looked back over her shoulder. "Come outside," she said. "You look like you need fresh air." Her tone was casual, but her eyes weren't. I nodded, though I didn't move. She smiled again, that same quiet, knowing curve, and disappeared into the night air. The room felt smaller after she left. On the counter, her glass still glistened with condensation. Half full, a smudge of her lipstick along the rim. I stared at it for too long, until someone else's footsteps sounded in the hallway. And then the door opened. The backyard was lit by string lights sagging between the trees, swaying a little in the evening wind. Everyone had settled into soft laughter and half-finished drinks, but I wasn't really in it. My attention kept drifting back to her. Mara was sitting near the edge of the porch, one leg crossed over the other, bare ankle catching the light. She laughed when someone told a story, though her eyes stayed distant. Somewhere else, somewhere quieter. The diamond on her left hand was gone. I noticed the faint pale band where it used to be. She caught me looking, again. For a moment, neither of us pretended. Then she lifted her glass slightly, like a small toast meant only for me. I smiled back, and that was it, the whole exchange. But it was enough. Later, when most of the family drifted off, my mother cleaning, my uncle arguing with the TV, Mara stood near the sink, rinsing her glass. I walked in without thinking. Maybe I wanted to help. Maybe I wanted to see if what happened in the kitchen earlier had been real. "You shouldn't clean," I said. "You're the guest." She didn't look up. "Old habits," she murmured. "It's hard not to do something with my hands." I stood beside her. The water ran quietly between us, and when she turned to hand me the towel, our fingers brushed. She didn't move away this time. "You ever feel like you're Starting over too late? She asked suddenly. I hesitated. You mean like, after something ends? She nodded, still watching the sink. You build a life for 20 years, and then one day it's just… She made a small gesture, like wiping dust from a table. Gone. I didn't know what to say, so I said nothing. Her voice softened. Your mom told you, right? About the divorce. I nodded. A little. Mara turned the water off. He left first, she said. But I finished it. There was no bitterness in her tone. Just exhaustion. A quiet kind of truth. When she looked up at me, her eyes were glassy but steady. You remind me of him sometimes, she said. The way you look at people. Like you're afraid they'll see too much. I'm not afraid, I said. But it came out too quick. She smiled, the corner of her mouth twitching. No? Then why can't you look at me now? I did, slowly, and she didn't look away. The space between us shrank, not by movement, just by breathing. I could smell her perfume again, mixed with the sharp scent of soap on her skin. She reached up, brushed a bit of lint from my shoulder, and let her hand linger longer than necessary. See? She whispered. You still flinch. I didn't. Her fingers pressed lightly against my arm, stopping the words. Don't explain, she said. Just breathe. The room went quiet, except for the soft hum of the refrigerator. We stood there, not touching anymore, but close enough that it didn't matter. She took a slow step back, the spell breaking just before it could become something else. Her gaze lingered, though, an unspoken promise or warning, I couldn't tell which. Then she said, almost under her breath, You should go before your mother walks in. But neither of us moved. Not right away. The night stretched thin, quiet except for the steady chirp of crickets through the window. Most of the house had gone to bed. I should have too. But Mara was still downstairs. I found her sitting on the couch, reading or pretending to. The book was open, but her eyes weren't moving across the page. She looked up before I said anything, like she already knew I'd come back. Couldn't sleep? She asked. I shrugged. Too much coffee. She smirked. You always were bad at excuses. I crossed the room, trying to act casual. The lamp cast a soft gold halo around her, hair slightly undone, bare feet tucked under a blanket. It didn't feel like family anymore. It felt like something else, something I wasn't supposed to want. Do you? I asked. Do I what? Ever have trouble sleeping? Her eyes flickered up. Lately? Every night. The air thickened, not from anything said, but from everything we didn't say. I sat down beside her. Too close. She didn't move away. For a long moment we just listened. The faint hum of the refrigerator, the creak of wood as the house settled. Then, softly, she said, You shouldn't be here. I nodded. I know. But neither of us stood up. Her hand rested on the blanket between us, fingers barely curled. I could see the pulse at her wrist, small, steady, fast. My knee brushed hers by accident. Or maybe not. Her breath caught, almost inaudibly. Mara. She closed the book and set it aside, not looking at me. Don't, she whispered. You'll make it real. The words hit harder than I expected. She stood, walking toward the kitchen, maybe to escape the silence. But I followed, not out of courage, just gravity. She turned when she felt me behind her. You don't know what you're doing, she said. Maybe not, I said quietly. But neither do you. Her jaw tightened. Then she laughed once, short, nervous. God, you sound like him. Your ex. Yeah, she said. He used to say things just to see what would happen. Her hand was on the counter, gripping the edge. I reached out, not to touch her, just to steady the air between us. But she turned, and suddenly we were face to face. Inches apart. The kind of closeness where breath mixes. Her eyes darted to my lips, then away. Mine did the same. I should go upstairs, I said. Then go, she whispered. But she didn't step back. Neither did I. The pause stretched so long it felt like the whole world was holding its breath. Then, a sound. The faint buzz of her phone on the counter. She glanced down. A text lit the screen. You home yet? Her ex's name. She froze. I stepped back. The space between us shattered, just like that. She picked up the phone but didn't open the message. Her voice was softer when she spoke. You should go before I forget I'm the adult here. I almost did. Almost. But when I reached the door, I heard her exhale. Shaky. Unsteady. I turned back. She was watching me again. Eyes wet with something neither of us named. Neither of us said goodnight. And still, when I finally walked away, I swear I felt her gaze follow me up the stairs. The way you feel heat after leaving a fired at IT rain the next night. A soft, steady drizzle that blurred the streetlights into something dreamlike. The house smelled faintly of wet earth and coffee. Everyone else had gone to bed early after dinner. Everyone except her. Mara stood by the window, arms folded, watching the rain slide down the glass. I found her there by accident, or maybe by instinct. I told myself to stay away, but I didn't mean it. She didn't turn around when I entered. You shouldn't sneak up on people, she said quietly. I wasn't sneaking, I said. I just can't sleep again? I hesitated. Guess not. Her reflection in the glass was faint, blurred by the water outside. I couldn't read her face, but I could hear something in her voice. The tremor of someone holding back. I used to love nights like this, she said. He hated them. Said the rain made everything feel smaller. She sighed, almost smiling. Now I miss the sound, not him. Funny, isn't it? I stepped closer, slow enough for her to notice but not stop me. Not funny, I said. Just lonely. That word hung there. Lonely. She turned at last, meeting my eyes, no pretense this time. Just raw, exhausted honesty. Don't, she said softly. Don't look at me like that. Like what? Like I'm something you could fix. I don't want to fix you. My voice was low, unsteady. I just don't want you to feel alone. Something in her expression cracked. The careful restraint she'd been wearing since that first night. She stepped toward me, close enough for the air between us to change temperature. Mara, I said, barely a whisper. She reached up, brushed her fingers through my hair, light, trembling. You don't know what you're asking for, she said. Then tell me. Her breath caught. You're 22, she whispered, almost like it hurt to say it. Don't, I interrupted. Don't say it like it's a crime. She laughed under her breath, shaky and thin. It might be. Her hand was still in my hair. I could smell the rain on her skin, feel the faint warmth radiating between us. I didn't touch her. Not yet. Do you think about it? I asked quietly. Her eyes closed, lashes wet. Every time you look at me. For a heartbeat, there was nothing else. No rain, no house, no rules. Just her breath brushing my jaw, her hand still resting at the back of my neck. Tell me to go, I said. She didn't. Instead, she whispered, this is the part where I should. Her forehead leaned against mine. Her voice trembled when she spoke again. You have no idea what you're doing to me. Then show me, I said, and it came out rougher than I meant. Her lips parted, just enough to answer, to surrender, to ruin everything, and then the hallway light flicked on. Footsteps. We froze. She stepped back, fast, eyes wide, breath gone. My mother's voice drifted from the stairs. Mara? You still up? Mara swallowed, forcing calm into her tone. Just closing the window, she called out. When the footsteps faded again, she looked back at me. The silence between us burned. Go, she said, this time without softness. But as I left, I heard her whisper, barely audible, cracked through restraint. I almost didn't stop. Morning came too bright, too normal. The kind of morning that pretends nothing happened the night before. Mara was already outside, sitting on the porch steps with her coffee, hair pulled up, sweatshirt hanging off one shoulder. She looked like she hadn't slept. Neither had I. I stood by the doorway watching her through the screen. She didn't turn around. She just said, "You're quiet for someone who usually forgets to breathe when he walks into a room." I pushed the door open. "You heard that?" I hear everything in this house. She took a sip of coffee. Especially last night. I froze. Last night. She turned then, finally meeting my eyes. You think I didn't notice your mom standing in the hallway? She saw us. The words hit hard, heavier than the morning air. Saw us what? I asked, but my voice betrayed me. Mara gave a dry laugh, shaking her head. You really think she didn't recognize what that looked like? I sat down beside her, the old wood creaking under our weight. She didn't move away, but she didn't look at me either. Her fingers twisted the mug, spinning it slowly, like she needed something to hold on to. She asked me this morning, Mara said quietly. Is there something going on with you too? My stomach dropped. What did you say? I told her no. It should have been a relief. It wasn't. She looked at me again. Tired, conflicted, beautiful in a way that made it hard to breathe. You should have seen her face, though. She didn't believe me. I tried to find something to say, but she went on. You know what's worse? For a second, I didn't believe me either. The porch was silent except for the sound of rainwater dripping from the roof. I reached out without thinking, brushing her hand. She didn't pull away, not immediately, but when she did, it was slow, like it hurt. This isn't just about us anymore, she said. It's about her, about the family, about everything that gets broken if we don't stop. Then why can't we? I asked. She laughed again, quiet and hollow. Because you keep looking at me like that. Like what? Like you already decided. I swallowed hard. Maybe I did. She turned fully then, facing me, close enough that I could see the tiny flecks of gold in her eyes. Then you need to hear this, she said. I tried to stop thinking about you. I tried to make it a joke in my head. A stupid little crush. But I can't. You're under my skin, and it's not fair. She set her mug down, trembling slightly. You have your whole life ahead of you, and I'm the one who's supposed to know better. I don't care, I said. Yes, you do, she whispered. You just don't know it yet. Then she stood up, brushing past me. Too close, her hand grazing my shoulder, sending a jolt straight through me. I told your mom I'd drive you back to campus tomorrow, she said over her shoulder. You should pack. Her tone was final, but her hand lingered on the doorframe a moment too long before she stepped inside. And I knew she wasn't pushing me away. She was bracing herself for what came next. The drive back to campus was supposed to be quiet, safe. Distance, asphalt, closure, that was the plan. But plans rarely survive the people who make them. The road hummed beneath us, the world washed in gray light after the rain. Mara's sunglasses hid her eyes, but her grip on the wheel said everything. Knuckles pale, jaw tight. She hadn't spoken much since we left the house. I tried to, twice. Both times, the words fell apart somewhere between thought and sound. Halfway there, she pulled over at a lookout. A small curve in the road with a view of the valley below, fog still rising off the trees. She cut the engine but didn't move. Why are we stopping? I asked. She exhaled, long and heavy. Because I can't drive another mile pretending this doesn't matter. The silence after that felt electric. I could hear the ticking of the cooling engine, my own pulse somewhere in my throat. She turned toward me, pulled off the sunglasses. Her eyes looked different now, softer, tired, almost pleading. You don't understand what you've done to me, she said. I keep replaying every second. The kitchen, the rain, the way you look at me like I'm still worth something. I don't know how to be around you anymore without wanting. She stopped herself, shaking her head. Mara, my voice came out rough. You don't have to say it. Her laugh was small, almost a sob. You think I haven't already? She reached up, brushed a strand of hair behind her ear. A useless gesture to steady herself. But her hand trembled halfway through, and somehow it ended up against my cheek instead. I didn't move. Neither did she. The world narrowed to the space between us. Her breath warm, steady, uneven. The air felt charged, waiting. I told myself it would stop, she whispered. That it was just loneliness. That you'd leave and I'd forget. Will you? I asked. She looked at me for a long time. No, she said finally. Not anymore. Her thumb traced the edge of my jaw, feather light, and I felt every nerve in my body go still. The only sound was the rain beginning again, soft against the windshield. I leaned in, not enough to close the space, just enough for her to feel it. Tell me what you want, I said. Her lips parted, but the answer didn't come right away. She breathed out slowly, shaking her head. You think I don't? Then she did something I didn't expect. She leaned forward, pressed her forehead against mine, eyes closed. I want you, she said, voice breaking. But I can't take you with me. I swallowed, fighting the urge to move, to ruin whatever was left of reason. Then let me stay here, I whispered. Just for this moment. Her hand slid to the back of my neck, fingers curling, holding on like she might drown if she didn't. And then, just before anything else, she kissed my cheek. Slow, deliberate, final. When she pulled back, her eyes were wet but calm. Now you'll remember it right, she said softly. Not as something we broke, but something we almost had. Neither of us spoke again. She started the car, and the valley blurred behind us. We drove on in silence, knowing exactly what we'd chosen, and what we'd left behind. Weeks passed before I saw her again. Campus swallowed me up. Lectures, papers, noise, but every quiet space still carried her. A scent in the air, a turn of phrase, the sound of rain against glass. She was everywhere the world slowed down. Then one Sunday afternoon, she called. No reason given, just, can we talk? I met her at a small cafe on the edge of town. The kind of place where no one asked questions, where the hum of conversation made privacy possible. She was already there, sitting by the window. Same quiet grace, same steady presence. Only difference. She smiled when she saw me, and this time it didn't look like a secret. Hey, I said. Hey, she echoed, voice soft. We sat. The first few minutes were small talk, coffee, weather, traffic, both of us circling the real thing. Then she looked at me, really looked. I wanted to thank you, she said. For what? For not turning it into a mistake. I shook my head. It never was. Her eyes dropped to the table, then lifted again, braver now. I thought I'd ruined something. Your family, your peace. But then I realized maybe all we did was remind each other we're still alive. I smiled. Slow. That's not nothing. She reached across the table, fingers hesitating midair before landing over mine. Her touch was light, familiar. That same gentle warmth I'd memorized. I was scared, she said, of what people would say, of how it would look. I thought age meant I should know better. But maybe knowing better doesn't mean stopping yourself from feeling. I turned my hand over, let my fingers interlace with hers. Maybe it just means you finally know what's worth the risk. She breathed out a quiet laugh, that same low, unguarded sound from the kitchen weeks ago. For a second, everything folded back to that first night. The yellow light, the soft tension, the pulse of something unnamed. Then she leaned forward, resting her forehead against mine across the table. The world outside blurred. People, traffic, time itself. All of it slipping into background noise. Whatever this is, she whispered. It's real, even if it has to be ours quietly. I nodded. Quiet's okay. When she pulled back, her thumb brushed my hand one last time before letting go. But she didn't walk away. Not this time. We left the cafe together, walking side by side through the soft afternoon. The sky had that golden edge before dusk, and she slipped her hand into mine. Not hidden, not hesitant, just there. At a stoplight, she looked over, smiling faintly. You know, I used to think stories like this never ended well. And now, I asked. Now I think the ending depends on who's telling it. We kept walking, no secrets left, no pretending. Just two people, quiet and close, finally choosing to stay in the same moment. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next?